Welcome back. Today we're looking at 3-14, simplifying rationals. So when we're simplifying rationals, basically what we're going to do is we're going to try to factor as much as we can. Once we're done with factoring, we're going to simplify, and at that point we should probably be able to say we're in simplest form and be done with it. Now, for your factoring, this is something that's not going to go away. As you guys get to higher levels of math, you're going to be expected to be able to factor. You may not have covered it very much in Algebra 1 last year, but we did cover this in Algebra 2, so that's 2 opportunities already that we've had to go over it. Please be very, very good. One of the most important things that you need to be able to do is factoring moving forward if you're going to higher levels of math after Algebra 2. So just more practice here. Make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it at this point, please ask questions because I can help you, and the more you do, the easier it gets. All right, so let's look at example 1. We have x squared plus 2x minus 8 over x squared minus 4x minus 12. So for these ones where we don't have a number, a coefficient in front of our x squared, they're pretty easy. What we're looking at is this last number. We're trying to figure out what factors, what two numbers multiply to get that number, and then add to get the middle number. All right, so we're going to put our parentheses like this. So on the top, we're trying to find what multiplies to get negative 8 and adds to get 2. So I know that's going to be positive 4 and negative 2, because negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. So we know that our last term here, factors are fine. They add to get the middle term. We're good to go. Now on the bottom, same idea. This time what multiplies to get negative 12 but adds to get negative 4. We know that's going to be negative 6 and positive 2. Negative 6, positive 2. Yep, negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Unfortunately here we can't simplify anything else, so we're going to leave it. If there are anything that was common in the numerator and denominator, we could cancel them out, but in this case there's nothing to cancel. We'll leave it. Okay, on to the next one. X squared minus 11x plus 28. What multiplies to get 28 adds to get negative 11. That's going to be negative 4 and negative 7. Negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28. Negative 4 plus negative 7 is negative 11. Okay, that's weird. This one doesn't cancel either, but if we did have common factors in the top and bottom, we could cancel them out. Unfortunately, this one does not. All right, on to number 3. 6 parentheses 2x plus 5 parentheses x plus, 6 parentheses 2y plus 5 parentheses y plus 2 divided by 18 parentheses y minus 7 2y plus 5. Notice here that, well, we don't have to factor because it's already factored, which is nice. We have 2x plus 5, 2y plus 5 in the numerator and denominator, right? So we can cancel those. We can also simplify 6 and 18. So these are both divisible by 6. If we're to divide 6 by 6, we'd get 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So now what we have here is, well, we don't have to multiply the 1 by the y plus 2. So we can just say y plus 2 is in the numerator. In the denominator, we have 3, and then the y minus 7. I'm pretty sure we don't have to distribute this 3 into the parentheses for our answer. I'm sure Alex will be fine with that, but in case it doesn't work, then just do the distributive property there. Okay, on to number 4. These ones are actually easier, but some people freak out at this point because we don't have 3 terms to factor, and it's actually easier to factor than the trinomial one. So when we have cases where we don't have a constant, right? We have 6x squared minus 8x, 2x squared minus 14x. Each of these terms has a variable in it, has the variable x in it. So there's no constants because there's no numbers without variables. So for these ones, all we're looking is for the greatest common factor for the numerator and denominator. So if we're looking at 6x squared minus 8x, well, I know 6 and 8 are divisible by 2. They have a common factor of 2, and each of them has an x. I'm going to pull out my 2x. On the inside, we're going to divide it out. So 6x squared divided by 2x would be 3, and we have an x left over. And then negative 8x divided by 2x is negative 4. Right, we took the x out, so there's no more x there. Okay, and in the denominator, again, our common factor would be 2x. So let's take out that 2x. We took the 2x from 2x squared. We just have an x left over. And then 14x divided by 2x gives us 7. Right, at this point, we can cancel our common factors. And we could leave it in parentheses, or we could just write it as 3x minus 4 over x minus 7. It's very important to remember that when we have a fraction like this, that the fraction bar implies parentheses. So having parentheses in it just makes it redundant. So it's like, even though there's not parentheses around it, there's invisible grouping around the 3x minus 4, and then there's invisible grouping symbols over the x minus 7 part. So just when you write fractions as well, be very careful that your fraction bar is the correct length and that it's showing all the things that belong together on top and bottom. Okay, and then on to the last one. This one's a little bit more tricky, but always remember this. So if you have a number in front of your x squared, right? We have some coefficient, it's not just x squared. The first thing you should always do is try to factor out any common factor. So look at 4, 8, and 12. I know that's all divisible by 4, so I'm going to pull my 4 out first before I start trying to do anything tricky. So I took the 4 from the 4x squared. If I take 4 from negative 8x, that means I'm dividing, so I'm left with negative 2x. And then from the 12, if I take 4 out, then I get 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So anytime you have a coefficient in front, try to do that. If it works, then it makes your life easier. If you skip over it and you just start factoring it, you'll probably come out to the wrong answer. So just be very aware of that. If you can factor out a number, factor it out. All right, so now on top, we're looking at what multiplies to get negative 3 and adds to get negative 2. So that's going to be negative 3 and positive 1. In the denominator, we're looking for what multiplies to get 9 and adds to get negative 6. So that would be negative 3 and negative 3. All right, so notice that we have 1 here that cancels with 1 in the denominator. So all together we have 4x plus 1 in parentheses over x minus 3. Now again, I think this is going to be okay in Alex. If not, just make sure you go ahead and distribute the 4. Either way, it's going to be fine. All right. Good job today. Just some more practice with the factoring stuff and canceling. But again, the more we do it, the better we get at it. So we just got to practice and get really good at factoring. It's one of the most important skills that you're going to take away from Algebra 2.